I think the best thing for people in Hollywood that are entrenched in that world is to up, because as soon as they start talking, people like as soon as Robert De Niro starts talking, I'm like, Jesus, get microphone away from him so I can enjoy Taxi Driver.
Yeah, it's
it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I don't want to hear. I love De Niro. I love those mob movies. It's like
I don't want to hear him that he's a moron. I don't want to hear him talking about politics and about Trump support.
Robert De Niro built a career playing tough guys on screen, but Joe Rogan tears through that Hollywood armor like tissue paper. In a world where De Niro once stood as an icon, Rogan reduces him to a cautionary tale, a grumpy relic shouting into microphones about politics, still pretending he's the guy from Raging Bull when, in reality, he's closer to being the punchline. The hook lands quick. The mobster image is gone, and what's left is a cranky actor spiraling into parody.
Why is he talking about this? Why is he talking about this publicly?
I'm going to say one thing. Trump.
If you're going to come out and say that you have a really deep-seated hatred for one of the two people running for president, you can't just be, he's a bully, he's a piece of shit, I hate him.
He's an idiot. Colin Powell said it best. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment.
De Niro has spent the last few years as a human foghorn of political rage, stomping onto stages to remind the world that he hates Donald Trump. That's his bit now. Forget the acting craft, forget the subtlety, forget even basic composure. He's reduced himself to a broken record, and Rogan gleefully points out the absurdity of an 80-year-old movie star treating political rallies like their red carpet premieres. De Niro bellows, veins bulging, as if he's auditioning for a role that never comes. The only script he has left is shouting at the air.
That he's a moron. I don't want to hear him talking about politics and about Trump supporters, and just shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't think this through. Like, this is, and he's getting yelled at. He's doing an outside press conference. Like, Robert, you're 80 years old. Don't ruin this thing. You've had this life where you were a fucking Raging Bull. You know, you were you were in The Godfather. Like, stop doing this.
If you're enjoying this video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. What Rogan destroys best is the gap between De Niro's cinematic legacy and his current behavior. Once revered as an actor of unmatched intensity, now he's just a late-night soundbite machine, a man who thinks yelling louder makes him relevant longer. Rogan seizes on that contrast like a lion tearing into meat. He mocks the self-importance, the manufactured rage, the way De Niro thinks his Hollywood resume entitles him to dictate politics. The more De Niro shouts, the smaller he looks, shrinking into a caricature of the roles he once mastered.
Makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has.
You probably, if you're going to express yourself about it and alienate 50% of the country, which it seems like it is, you're going to have to do better than that. You should have some specific things. Like, he did some real estate deals with people in New York. Let me tell you what he did to people over.
I would love to hear it.
He did this and that. Let me tell you what he did that was fraud. He did.
There's a painful irony that Rogan doesn't miss. De Niro played icons of masculinity, but off-screen, he's exposed himself as fragile and bitter. The mobster bravado was always a mask, and now the mask has slipped. Rogan paints him as the cranky grandpa at Thanksgiving who starts ranting about politics before dessert, chasing everyone from the table. The legend has become a loud distraction, a sideshow that people tolerate out of respect for past glories. But respect fades quickly when the act grows stale.
Robert De Niro, there's something about being a star where you think your opinion's more important than anybody else's, and you can go give a press conference, and he obviously has been very vocal from 2016 that he hates Trump for whatever reason. Maybe they have some personal thing.
You think Trump ever threw a punch himself or took one? This guy who ran and hid in the White House bunker when there were protesters outside? No way.
Now he's like...
And stale it has become. De Niro's filmography in the last decade reads less like the career of a titan and more like the resume of a man willing to cash any check. Comedy misfires, forgettable thrillers, awkward cameos. This is the work of someone chasing paydays, not art. Rogan shreds that decline mercilessly, comparing the De Niro of Taxi Driver to the De Niro of Dirty Grandpa. It's not evolution, it's regression. The man who once embodied Travis Bickle is now mugging through cheap laughs, undermining his own gravitas.
Oh, the 1923 show?
Both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Mobland.
Oh, yeah. I heard Mobland's great.
She's fucking great.
Yeah, I have not seen that yet.
The Italian mafia movies, they're done.
Really?
Yeah, they're done. De Niro just put Alto Nights Out. They took it out of the movie theater in 2 fucking weeks.
He put what out?
He put a movie called Alto Nights Out, where he plays 2 roles. He plays Frank Costello and somebody else, Vito Genovese. I don't know exactly.
Somebody should have taken De Niro's keys away when he wanted to go out.
The public meltdowns don't help either. De Niro's interviews have become viral for all the wrong reasons. incoherent rants, red-faced fury, and the sad spectacle of a man trying to extend his relevance through noise instead of substance. Rogan zeroes in on how quickly De Niro turns to profanity when he has nothing meaningful to say, as if anger alone validates his point. The more unhinged he appears, the clearer it becomes that his legacy is in free fall. The actor who once commanded silence now invites ridicule. Rogan's humor slices deep because it's rooted in truth. De Niro isn't feared anymore. He's pitied. The man who portrayed Vito Corleone's rise to power now looks powerless himself, flailing against cultural tides he can't control. Every rant aimed at Trump only feeds Rogan more ammunition. Here's a legendary actor reduced to being a background character in someone else's political story. De Niro thinks he's landing blows, but really he's shadowboxing in a corner, unnoticed except when late-night hosts need easy content.
Now everyone's heckling him everywhere he goes.
That's so bad.
Like instead of just being this cranky old liberal, now you're this guy that is yelling at other people that are Trump supporters, and they're yelling at you. Yeah. Like you've opened yourself up to this nonsense. Why?
Be gentlemen in this world, the Democrats. You are gangsters. You are gangsters.
Now every movie you go to, 50% of the population is.
Rogan also points to De Niro's hypocrisy. This is a man who made his fortune in a cutthroat Hollywood system, who played violent men to global applause, yet suddenly he claims moral superiority over everyone else. Rogan skewers that posturing. You can't build your empire portraying mob bosses, hitmen, and degenerates, then climb onto a soapbox to lecture about decency. The disconnect is too glaring, and Rogan hammers it home. De Niro is less a role model and more a reminder that fame doesn't equal wisdom. Even De Niro's public image outside of politics crumbles under Rogan's fire. His personal life, splattered across tabloids with messy divorces and lawsuits, paints a picture of a man barely holding it together. Rogan doesn't miss the chance to point out how quickly the on-screen stoicism evaporates in reality. The composed gangster becomes the confused celebrity, fumbling through court cases and financial disputes. It's the unraveling of a myth, and Rogan makes it hilarious by stripping away the glamour.
Well, no, I think that, listen, you're not going to ban a movie because of his political beliefs.
No, but people aren't going to take him seriously because of his political beliefs.
Well, the way he acted, he dropped some people, okay, and I get it, but to make $2 million your first week,
that's not good.
And then like $3 million after that, and then they just yanked it. I tried to go just to watch it.
It's called Alto Nights?
Because I heard
Have you heard of it, Jamie?
Nobody. Came and went.
The roast becomes even sharper when Rogan compares De Niro to other aging legends. Some actors embrace their twilight years with dignity, picking meaningful roles, stepping back from the spotlight gracefully. Not De Niro. He clings to every microphone, every podium, every chance to shout into the void. Rogan paints the picture clearly. De Niro could have been remembered as a quiet master of the craft, but instead, he chose the path of the angry has-been. He traded timelessness for tantrums, and the exchange wasn't worth it. Rogan also dismantles the cult of celebrity worship that fuels De Niro's outbursts. The assumption that actors hold political wisdom simply because they act well is absurd, and De Niro embodies that absurdity perfectly. Rogan uses him as the punchline to a larger critique. Hollywood doesn't just lose touch with reality, it launches into orbit away from it. And in De Niro's case, the orbit has decayed into a spiral. He's less a star now and more a satellite burning up on re-entry.
The people that are doing it right now about Biden telling you how you should vote, even though you know he's impaired, you definitely shouldn't vote for Trump.
He has no understanding that I can see of the outside world other than anything around him. He has no idea of what his purpose in life is as the president should be, and that is to pull the country together, to be for the people, to heal wounds, not to open them up and pour salt on them.
Don't tell people that, you idiot, because it's going to make more people angry and want to vote.
The funniest part of Rogan's takedown is the image he builds of De Niro trying to be intimidating today. The glare, the furrowed brow, the old-school tough guy persona, it doesn't land anymore. Instead of menace, it produces chuckles. Instead of fear, it sparks memes. Rogan highlights that decline with brutal humor, reminding everyone that time spares no one, not even the toughest faces of cinema. De Niro once scared audiences, now he struggles to be taken seriously. From a cultural standpoint, Rogan makes De Niro look like the fossil of a Hollywood that no longer exists. The grit, the mystique, the dominance of the silver screen have given way to streaming fluff and TikTok trends. De Niro hasn't adapted. He's simply aged, and Rogan's laughter at that stagnation rings truer than any monologue. The legend stayed too long at the party, and now he's the guy embarrassing himself on the dance floor while everyone else has moved on.
Oh, Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
No, Kurt's convinced that Robert De Niro's on some kind of Epstein list or some kind of thing like that, and then he's afraid that if Trump does get power, he's going to expose him, and he is actually going to come at him.
Of course Kurt thinks
That's
that.
what Kurt thinks that.
Kurt thinks that about every fucking thing that happens in the world.
I think Robert De Niro's just got Trump derangement syndrome.
I think he's old, too. There's a thing about old men.
And
they want to yell at everybody.
The actor is stripped bare, revealed not as a giant, but as a tired man shouting into microphones, desperately trying to remind people that he mattered. Rogan makes it brutally clear the greatest role De Niro plays now is himself, and it's the weakest performance of his career. And that's not even the final sting. Rogan doesn't have to exaggerate much, he just holds up the mirror. De Niro wanted to be remembered as the heavyweight of cinema, but Rogan shows he's become the featherweight of political theater. The applause has faded, the respect has dwindled, and what's left is a man defined not by his achievements, but by his tantrums. Rogan digs even deeper, peeling away the last scraps of dignity clinging to De Niro's career. The man who once prided himself on selecting complex roles now stumbles into films that look like tax write-offs. Rogan points out the absurdity of seeing De Niro shuffle through generic thrillers, giving the same tired glare he's been recycling since the Reagan era. It's not acting anymore, it's autopilot, a paycheck performance from someone who once mocked others for selling out. That hypocrisy is fuel for Rogan's fire.
Couple of different baby mamas.
Yeah, we like talking about women together. Like, he's fucking amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, he's
He
awesome.
just got divorced.
I know.
When guys
for the second time.
are that
it's the same
old,
woman. Yeah.
Same woman he got divorced to?
Yeah.
When guys are that old and they get divorced, I'm like, how bad must it be?
Yeah, for the second time.
When you're like, you want to be alone and you're 78.
Award shows are another goldmine. Rogan highlights how De Niro treats the stage not as a place to honor art, but as his personal soapbox. Instead of gratitude or reflection, audiences get rambling speeches, half-finished thoughts, and the inevitable political tirade. Rogan rips apart the spectacle of an actor lecturing people who bought tickets to hear about cinema, not campaign slogans. Every time De Niro grabs a microphone, the room shifts from celebration to hostage situation. The crowd claps politely, but the enthusiasm is gone. Rogan also points to the emptiness of De Niro's activism. For all his screaming about politics, what tangible difference has he made? He's not crafting policy, he's not building movements, he's just yelling louder than the last time. Rogan skewers the idea that De Niro's speeches inspire anyone beyond late-night hosts desperate for material. The supposed warrior for democracy is really just a man clinging to attention, mistaking volume for influence. Rogan paints him as a parody activist, an A-lister cosplaying as a revolutionary. Even Hollywood's protection of De Niro becomes a joke in Rogan's hands. Studios still parade him out as a legend, as if the title itself is enough to disguise the mediocrity. Rogan dismantles that charade, pointing out that respect isn't permanent, it's earned, and De Niro hasn't earned it in years. Propping him up like a living statue only highlights the cracks. The industry treats him like a relic in a museum, polished and displayed, but lifeless when you look closer.
He's completely... Did you see when he went and gave that speech outside of the trial? That was bizarre.
Told him that was a good idea?
And then he starts yelling at regular people. He's like,
crazy.
fuck you, you're a gangster. Go fuck you. Like,
it's crazy that that's the guy
what?
from Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
You know what also I think those guys have no friends. I think the only friends they have are Hollywood phonies. And so you're in this weird world where everybody you talk to is a phony, and you become a phony, and everyone's a phony, and your grasp on reality is very slippery, and your eyes...
Rogan also skewers De Niro's desperate attempts to stay intimidating. The narrowed eyes, the sharp voice, the practiced pauses, meant to project menace. They all collapse under the weight of reality when people remember he's in his 80s. What once looked like a mobster's piercing glare now looks like someone struggling to read a menu without his glasses. Rogan hammers the absurdity of a man still cosplaying as the scary tough guy while his body insists on reminding him of his age. The disconnect between the myth and the mortality is so wide that it becomes comedy in itself. On screen, De Niro once made people nervous with a single look. Today, he'd struggle to win an argument with a barista who misspelled his name on a latte cup. The tough guy aura has expired, the contract has run out, but De Niro stubbornly refuses to acknowledge it. That denial, clinging to a persona that expired decades ago, is pure comedic fuel for Rogan. The roast sharpens even further when Rogan reframes De Niro not just as an aging actor, but as Hollywood's cautionary tale. This is the inevitable fate of someone who mistakes applause for immortality. Instead of making a graceful exit while the legend was still intact, De Niro dragged his career through the mud, attaching himself to every stage, every microphone, every spotlight, long after the shine was gone. Rogan emphasizes the price of overstaying your welcome. The legend doesn't just fade, it curdles into parody. The applause that once lifted him now curdles into laughter for all the wrong reasons. By the time Rogan is finished, De Niro isn't just roasted, he's completely incinerated. The aura of greatness has vanished, replaced with the pitiful image of a bitter old man shouting at clouds, propped up by yes men who pretend it still matters. Rogan leaves no doubt. The Robert De Niro who once commanded the screen with effortless dominance is gone, and what remains is a fragile ego wrapped in fading celebrity. It's the harshest role of all, and De Niro can't act his way out of it.